Good evening, everyone, and thank you very much for the warm welcome. And also thank you for the kind introduction, Mr. Zito. It goes without saying that it is a tremendous honor to be recognized for this type of work. The type of work that I still find very challenging and difficult. It's also equally as humbling to be placed among a group of educators that I know have also done amazing things to impact student lives. I think it's extra surreal to me to be here tonight because if you would have asked me when I was in high school, I would have told you spending more time in high school would be the last thing I'd ever wanted to do. And becoming a teacher, a science teacher no less, was so far off my radar as a possibility. But here I am. Before you tonight, it's been about 15 years since I literally stumbled into education, and I'm here to tell you that I'm still thoroughly enjoying the gig. I find that I love the creative demands it puts on me. I like being in a space where there's learning happening all around me. I'm learning all the time. I find my interactions and relationships that I've had with students to be totally fulfilling and a lot of fun. So really, at the end of the day, I can't imagine a more worthy use of my time away from home. Before I get into the topic I want to address tonight, I just want to acknowledge that what I bring to the table as an educator, as a teacher, in terms of philosophy and how I approach student learning and developing curriculums, has really been shaped by a lot of people. I've been affected by the people that I've worked alongside, really brilliant educators, out-of-the-box thinkers that I've worked with since I started teaching in California. I've really been inspired over and over again. I want to name just a few of them quickly. Steve Andrews from UC Berkeley, pretty much every teacher I worked with at June Jordan School for Equity, especially Don Fung Kuhn. Vicki Dodd, who's here tonight, was a partner in crime of mine. Matt Zito, my current principal, who's also here tonight, is a tremendous leader of our high school. As well as probably most influential of all is my wife Carmen, who's also here tonight. Not only does she teach 6th grade full-time, she has graciously picked me up as a side project. Teachers don't make the best students. But her grounded perspective in education and how to teach kids and her sense of humor have really served to keep me sane when the going gets nutty, which she will tell you it often does for me. I do that to myself. So after toiling with what to talk about tonight, I've narrowed my topic to my subject area, which is science. And I've come up with a little speech that I call, "What the heck is a valence electron and why should I care?" And if you would have asked me that question when I was in high school, I would have told you I have no idea and I don't care. I did take chemistry. I remember balancing equations and doing little dimensional analysis worksheets, but I never really got it. I never really got why it was important to my life or why it was relevant. And I never heard anything about valence electrons to recall. Nevertheless, I had been pre-programmed since before I was born that I was going to college. So I kind of just did what I had to do and went through the motions, and but never really quite got why I was learning what I was learning. Today, the subject of chemistry acts as a gatekeeper in California. It really determines who goes to college or kind of puts them in that direction or not. And the reason for that is because the second year of lab science is a college requirement for the CSU and the UC system, but for many, many high schools in California, it's not a graduation requirement. And so what that does is it sets up the path of least resistance. This course still is as abstract as ever. It's got the potential to be seemingly meaningless, and it's really confusing kids from all socioeconomic groups. But the trend is that kids of color are less likely to complete this course, and that contributes to the achievement gap. The socioeconomic groups underrepresented in science and higher education are distinct. And so I've come to be convinced that using the environment as a vehicle to teach science is really the way to go. It's just a great way to make science more relevant in kids' lives, to make it meaningful. And one of the reasons for that is kids are basically surrounded by their environments everywhere they go all the time. It's embedded with scientific concepts that can be explored. In addition, from the moment we wake up in the morning till when we go to bed at night, most of the choices we make have an environmental impact, and I think that warrants discussion and attention. Now, I'm not an eco-extremist, dirt worshiper, or anything like that, but I do see the need for us, for students increasing their environmental awareness. And I do recognize the environment as a very convenient relevancy point that we can connect science to. And so we can study concepts like thermodynamics, law of conservation of mass, chemical bonding, just to name a few. So I'm very proud to have developed an environmental chemistry course as an alternative to regular chemistry. It not only makes chemistry super relevant by bringing in the really controversial and pressing issues that are facing California, issues like our shortage of fossil fuels, solid waste management, water pollution, fresh water availability and distribution. And all those things can be used as a foundation for studying chemistry. The course is inquiry-based, it's hands-on, and it's been approved by UC Berkeley, so it counts as a college entrance requirement. I think all high schools should seriously consider offering this course. To further justify a course like this, my experience is that a surprising number of our kids really have no idea where their drinking water comes from. When they turn on the kitchen sink, they don't know where it comes from. When they flush the toilet, they don't know where it goes. When they throw things away, they don't know where away is. When they turn on the light switch, they don't know how that makes the lights come on. And I think those are important things to know. And they're not explicitly in the standards, but they are embedded into the course. To be clear, environmental chemistry is not an environmental studies course. It's not like a soft social science, rooted in Native American folklore, and it's not a conceptual chemistry course for poets, watered down. It is a hard science, standards-based, rigorous course. The big difference is every step of the way we anchor the chemistry we're studying into the environment to bring out the relevancy. So by doing this, it not only allows students to address a whole slew of really interesting, pressing topics that are showing up in the newspaper. It opens up a variety of field trip opportunities, community service opportunities, job opportunities for while they're in high school and after they graduate and graduate from college as well. We are literally getting dirty all over the watershed. And I think that there's value in that because not only are the kids participating in their local community, they're becoming environmental stewards. I believe all this makes the chemistry experience more rich and relevant than it otherwise would be, and I think it'll capture kids that might otherwise not take the course. So back to the question, what the heck is the valence electron and why should we care? So my kids last year, just a quick story, explored this topic by doing an investigation in their neighborhood. And what they did was they collected stormwater samples after it rained. The rain's running down the street, and they mapped out their storm drains, and they went to the storm drains and got, collected little samples of it, brought it back to class, and we tested them for a variety of things. And what we found was that overwhelmingly, the one thing that was testing high in all the samples was nitrates. And so that was kind of our starting point. And then we worked backwards from that. It begs a lot of questions like, so what are nitrates? Where are they coming from? The kids, we learned about fertilizers, and the kids kind of source the nitrates to their neighbors' lawns, the over-fertilization. And then the question becomes, so how does the nitrate get into the water? And then we got to look at atomic structure, enter the valence electron, and how it affects atoms bonding and turning into ions and becoming dissolved in water and so forth. And then the question becomes, so where does that water go? And so we follow the pipes, and it takes us to San Francisco Creek, which is the major creek in our watershed. And so we go there and kind of assess, is there an impact that we can see on the ecosystem there, and take more water samples. We learn about, algae blooms, and then we learn about, how do we prevent this problem? How do we control pollution? Which I think this approach to learning about ions, which is a chemistry standard, makes it a lot more interesting than it otherwise would be. So I have collected some research, a couple years worth of research from my students that have taken this course, and I can tell you with confidence that not only can they tell you why what you're learning in chemistry is important in the real world, they are enjoying chemistry and they are completing this college requirement, and they can tell you what a valence electron is, which is an electron in the outermost shell of the atom, if that matters to anybody, and why that is important in real life. How does that show up? And so I'm pleased to report that this year the course is expanding. Right now we've got 3 other teachers in my district besides me that have picked up this course. But really my vision is to see this course really get wheels and go throughout the state of California in a way to hook more kids into science, make the science relevant, make kids become a steward of their environment, and help them more kids get college ready. So I know we've got an important audience here tonight. If there are any administrators or teachers out there that can see this course being a course offered at your school, please come and talk to me. I'd love to see that happen. So thank you so much for listening to me tonight, and thank you for this very, very special honor.
For Region 4, I'm very happy to announce that our Educator of the Year going to represent our region in Sacramento in February will be Lance Powell.